Hello, everybody, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We have made it. This is day 2. This is our final session. I hope that everyone who has been here either today or yesterday or both days, I hope that you have been able to fill your cup. I hope you have been able to walk away with resources, knowledge, and just anything that you can take back and share with your staff and share with your youth. All videos will be available within a week or two on the platform, and each state will also have videos available via their newsletter or on their state websites. The states who are hosting this: Ohio, Vermont, North Dakota, Montana, Nebraska, and Illinois. And with that being said, I had the pleasure of attending an event last year, and we had a speaker, and this speaker got a standing ovation because he was engaging. His story was uplifting and motivating. And so when we were thinking about this event, I said, we've got to have him because this is all about STEM. And he is an employee of NASA. He's an engineer. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to our closing plenary, Mr. Tyrone Jacobs Jr.
Hello,
Woo-hoo.
hello. Thank you all so much for having me here and having me present a little bit on my story and having the privilege to share just some things that I've kind of gone through in my life and how I overcame it and how we can all work together to share that with our youth and our babies and our kids because they really need it, especially now in today's time and in today's climate and society. It's needed now really more than ever. So I'm excited to share a few things about myself and then kind of leave it open a bit towards the end, for questions or just comments or, just conversation. So, all right. Yeah. So the title of my presentation is Navigating Life's Labyrinth, Overcoming Challenges with Resilience. And there's no better way for me to really encapsulate my story than by titling it something like this. So, all right, we can go to the next slide. All right, so just a few things that you'll learn, or what can you expect as you kind of go through this with me? How did I get to where I am today? What are some of the battles and challenges and just obstacles that I went through to kind of get here? How did I even get to NASA or even get close to the brand? And then I'll share some strategies, like I said before, mindset strategies, because I believe personally that life is a mind thing, it's a mental thing. And so you have to, really win the mental to win life. So I'll share a few things about, what did I go through and then how did I overcome it and succeed later. So, all right. Yeah. All right. Baby me. Well, kind of baby me. I was born in Chicago. I was premature. I was a pound and maybe like 4 ounces or 5. It was something crazy. You could basically fit me in the palm of your hand. So you could take your hand like this out of the womb. You could literally place me in the palm of your hand. Like that's how small I was. And it was really a miracle that I survived and that I'm still alive today because looking at me then, I was in the ICU, intensive care unit. I had all types of IVs and all types of tubes in my nose and coming out all different kinds of places. And I was essentially fighting for my life then to breathe, to live, because they were looking at me and it wasn't looking too good. So I've only known fighting in my life. That's been the reoccurring theme is just fighting and fighting and fighting. And so, yeah, I was born in Chicago, Cook County. And then shortly after I moved to Toledo, Ohio. That's where most of my, at least my mom's side of the family, that's where they're all from or they have lived most of their lives. So that's what I consider my hometown and where I was raised. So yeah, and if you're not sure about Toledo, if you know of Detroit, Michigan, Toledo is the city that's right under it. So Michigan, Ohio, it's like that. There we go. Next slide. All right, so middle school memories. Yeah, middle school was it was quite the challenge for me. Really all of it, but middle school is where it started because I know for me, personally, I did not have my identity established yet. And I know it's kind of hard to ask of a kid or somebody who's in that grade range to kind of have them know, well, what do you want to be? Or like, who are you? Like that. I mean, even as adults, we still struggle with like figuring out who we are and what we want to be. But I know for me, identity was such a challenge for me because I would find myself following like other students and other kids. Okay, well, he has long hair, so I'm gonna grow my hair out. Or he cut his hair, so I'm gonna cut mine too. Like he's listening to XYZ artists, so I'm gonna also listen to XYZ artists. So I'm like, I'm following the crowd. I'm keeping up with the Jones, right? Like I don't have a sense of like my own purpose and my own identity. So it took a while for me to really navigate that space and figure out, all right, well, what do I want to be and ultimately not just what do I want to be, but who do I want to become in the process of getting to what I want to become? Because I personally believe it's not really about your achievements in life or like your success or your accolades. It's about the person that you become en route to achieving those things. But I didn't know this then. So at this point, this is sixth, seventh, eighth grade. I'm not really caring about classes and my grades, and I didn't really care. I just wanted to be accepted. And that's a big part of this is seeking external or outside validation from other people to affirm me or to validate me when it should come from who you are already just as a person, day by day. So, yeah, middle school was definitely tough, and it got rougher in high school, which is the next piece. So yeah, we can go into the high school portion. My high school pictures, these are hilarious to look at years later. But yeah, so there's a few pictures of me in high school. I believe the one with the red hat, I think I was a sophomore at the time. And this is actually a real picture of my high school in the background. It is called the Toledo Academy of Engineering now in present day, but back then it was just Toledo Technology Academy. And it's like a STEM engineering preparatory type of high school. So you don't just learn math, science, English, literature, biology. You're also learning electrical engineering fundamentals. You're learning mechanical engineering fundamentals, chemical engineering, pneumatics, hydraulics, excuse me, PLCs. You're learning just all types of stuff, programming, coding, software engineering, CNC machines. I mean, it's a lot of stuff you're learning, manufacturing engineering. So those are some of the things that we learned as we went through 9 to 12. And high school was very, very rough for me because not only am I still struggling with identity and not really knowing who I am and what music do I like and how do I want my hair and how do I want to dress, I still didn't have the answers to these questions. But not only am I bringing that in from middle school, I get to high school and it compounded. It got way worse. So even though my high school it was still very small in terms of like student population, because normally you think of high school, you think of 900 kids, 800 kids, 1,000 students, right? You're not thinking of a population of 165 students. And then your graduating class being maybe 38, 39 students. You're not thinking of a population that's small, but that's what my high school was. And so for me, high school was worse because not only was I still struggling with identity, but I'm battling depression now, like really hard depression. I'm battling suicidal ideations, feelings of not wanting to be on earth, feelings of not knowing who I was, feelings of not knowing my purpose in life. And why am I here? Why was I born? What are my gifts? I mean, like I said, even as adults, we still ask these things. So I'm not saying that it's something that you only ask like when you're younger. I mean, you still do it when you're older. But when you're older, you have more life lived and it's a bit more fine-tuned. But at this point, yeah, I had no idea who I was or what I wanted to do and what my purpose and what my gifts were. And I struggled pretty hard with confidence and I battled really hard with insecurities. Just not just physically or just feeling like I didn't look a certain way or have a certain aesthetic, but mentally too. I didn't feel like I was smart enough. I didn't feel like I could succeed. I didn't feel like nobody around me could relate to me in my journey, in my story, in my childhood. I feel like I was really an outcast essentially to everything and everyone. And I didn't feel like that I could mesh with really anybody, not even my teachers at the time. So I really felt like even though I was surrounded by people, I still felt alone, right? And that's something that is really hard to battle through, where you feel like you're around somebody or just people, but you still feel internally alone. That was probably one of the biggest feelings that I had at the time in high school. And so I didn't really figure out, um, still didn't figure out how to navigate a lot of these feelings and my emotions and my temperament and everything. But as I got to graduating high school and graduating college and attending college and everything, that's when you start to see a kind of turn in my journey, and and then you start to see some things start to mesh out. So we can go to next slide. Hey, there we go. College graduation. So that's myself and my mom when I graduated. Um, I went to University of Toledo again, which is in Ohio. Go Rockets. And yeah, so I graduated with a Bachelor's of Science in Electrical Engineering, May of 2018. And in college, this is where you see a lot of the fine tuning, where I actually figured out my identity, who I was, what are my gifts, my purpose. I didn't care so much about fitting into the crowd, or I didn't care about, hey man, like we're gonna go party on Friday, come with me. No, like I'm gonna go study and go over here and do this. Like I really had my own sense of like tunnel vision. And tunnel vision is very important because you do get a lot of influences in high school, especially, but definitely in college. It just compounds. It gets worse. Everything just compounds as you ascend. So you get to college, if you're not used to it, you're seeing all the parties, you're seeing all the stuff that really would attract a young college student. But it's very easy for you to get sidetracked and go right instead of left. And so for me, I knew getting to college, hey, you have this one shot here. You can't mess this up. You've had a long road to this point. This is where you need to really capitalize and maximize this opportunity. So in college is where I figured out, you know what, like, no, like I'm Tyrone. Like my last name is Jacobs. It means something. Like this name is going to mean something. It's going to become something. And you work for your last name, not your first name, right? So I'm figuring out identity, purpose, gifts. I really didn't struggle much with confidence or insecurity. I became a great and a better public speaker during this time, and I discovered that gift. I didn't even know I even had that gift until college. I had no idea that I would be being here today or speaking to people about my life and my journey. I had no idea this was coming. So at this point is where I call it like my fine tune, because I was able to understand and ask the questions of, why did I struggle with depression and feelings of not feeling purposeful and feeling worthless, feeling like I wanted to chase the crowd and do what others are doing. I want to become a leader. I want to become somebody that becomes a leader where other people can look to and be like, you know what? I want to do something like he's doing, or I want to follow something that he's doing, but in a positive way, not a negative way. So college for me was big because I really honed in on who I was and my identity and my purpose and my gifts for my life. And then, yeah, this will lead into the next slide, yeah, which is my current career path. And how did I kind of feel there? So I won't lie, I mean, I'm a very transparent and open and honest guy. You know, when I started working in corporate, there were some feelings that kind of crept back in again about identity, and because there's only, I'm not gonna lie, I've been the only person that looks like me on all of my teams to date. And that's hard to, when you walk into a company or to a place, organization, and you're like, wait, like you look around and you're like, well, I don't see anybody else that looks like me here. So you start to again, some of those old feelings come back, identity, uh-oh, like who am I? Or imposter syndrome, right? Like, oh, whoa, am I supposed to be here? Do I belong here? Like, where's my sense of belonging, right? So some of those feelings early on crept in, and from time to time they still do sometimes, because when you join a team, you kind of expect to have more of you on a team, or at least close to you in proximity. It still really has not happened. So that's why I do the work that I do now with conferences like this, with engagements like this, because I want to see more people that are like me in these fields, or that are achieving in these fields, or navigating to these fields, or matriculating into a field like this in aerospace. So yeah, to date, this has really been my career path, my journey. I mean, it's been amazing, don't get me wrong, but yeah, there are still moments from time to time where I get that kind of, oh, like I don't see anybody like me, or I'm the only one that's like me on my team. I have to represent and be proud and be honorable, right? So those feelings, they still do come from time to time, but not as much as it did in middle school and high school. So, but at this point, I mean, I'm turning 30 in 12 days. So at this point, um, I'm very much so like fine-tuned, and I'm very, very, very clear on my purpose and my gifts and my talents and how I want to use my life and position my life to do what I want to do and what I want to accomplish. And so that was just a little bit about me and kind of my journey and my story. Do I have another slide? I don't know if I do or not. I might. I don't think so. Yeah, okay. I know I probably have one more. So really here, the biggest takeaways that I could share with you all to share with your students and youth that you work with is make sure you have a sense of identity. So like make sure you know who you are, and it's okay. It changes. It will change. It will pivot. You'll have to adjust it, but make sure you make that a focal point as you go through life is just really knowing who you are and knowing that nobody can take away from you, or take away pieces of who you are because that's just who you are. And if they don't really approve of it or like it, I mean, that's not really something that you have to worry about. That's on them or that other person. Be firm in who you are, be confident. It's okay to fail. It's okay to mess up and make mistakes, but as they say, fall down 7 times, stand up 8. Continuously pick yourself back up, keep going, keep trying, keep fighting. Um, it's okay to have struggles or insecurities from time to time. Like these things are not bad. Like it's okay to have these moments and these experiences, but it's about not having them or not going through it, but how do you respond to it afterwards? It's all about the response, not what's happening to you. It's about what are you doing about it. So make sure you stand firm in that, and make sure you have a support system. I mean, we all need support. We all need a village. It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to raise up good people in society. I know I have a village. I know I have supporters and people that have poured into me over the years, and I don't consider myself a self-made person because there's been so many people over the years that have poured into me and put me in different rooms and spaces. And so I always give honor and thanks to those people along my journey. So really the biggest thing is just never giving up and never quitting on your dreams and your goals for your life, and just understanding that you're going to have challenges and obstacles along the way. Some of them you may see coming, and it's life. Some of them you're not going to see coming. They're going to blindside you. But again, it's not about what happens to you in life or how hard it is. It's about how do you respond to it, or what are you going to extract from this moment? Like what is the silver lining you're going to pull from this moment to use it to better fuel you to become a better person and a better human being. So those are really the biggest points of really my life and what I would share with a youth if I was in front of one or in front of a student. And those are some things that I think we all can share with kids that we work with day to day. So I like to kind of leave some time for questions or just comments towards the end. But yeah, I mean that's essentially a little bit about me and my story, and just some things that I would share with the youth today if I were in front of them.
Tyrone, I have a question. And when I first saw you speak, you spoke on this a little bit. Can you share a little bit about the adults who were in this space while you were trying to navigate? What did they do to
Yeah,
support you, to help you when you were in that space of, and I had put in the chat when you were
yeah,
talking, like, how many of us have youth who feel the same way you do? What helped you
sure.
from adults who were in your space?
Yeah, so early
That
on,
makes
I know, yeah, yep, I got you. Yeah, early on, I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And I know early on in the early days, it was my mom and my uncle. My mom and uncle basically teamed up and sent me to the high school that I went to because my uncle saw early on that I had a gift. I wrote on a letter that I wanted to become an astronaut one day, and I had no idea about astronauts, NASA, nothing. So it's kind of crazy how life works. Like you write things down and it actually comes true, or it becomes close to coming true. So it's been amazing. But I know for me, I've had my mom, my uncle. I mean, I've had educators like yourselves. I've had teachers. I've had guidance counselors. I mean, I've had principals, superintendent. I mean, go on and on and on. I have had so many people, especially in the educational space, to help me out. And then I've had coworkers. I've had senior engineers. I've had senior managers. I've had people adopt me as their son, like not literally, but just like, you're my son, you're my nephew. I've had so many people do this over the years. And it's because that they want to help me and they see something in me that I don't currently see in myself. So that's why I said I stress the importance of having a village and having a supportive village and making sure the people that are around you, make sure that they pour into you and that they want to see you do well and do better.
Thank you. There's a question in the chat for you. It says, how has being a member of Alpha Phi Alpha helped you during your journey? And they say, excellent presentation.
Thank you. Thank you. No, being an alpha is tremendous. I mean, it's kind of right here in my background, but it's tremendous because our whole thing is being servants of all, transcending all, and that's kind of our purpose and our mission statement and what we do, being first of all, serving all, transcending all. And so it's been such an amazing journey with this because it was formed in 1906 for African American college men. So to take it from what it was then in the early 1900s to what it is today, I mean, is insane. And so we do a lot of work in the community. We help the less fortunate, the homeless. We help out kids, students. We go into classrooms and read books to them. I mean, we do it all. So, and we've been doing it for the last 117 years and counting. And so it's been tremendous and instrumental into my journey, my development as a man and as a person. And I wouldn't change it for the world.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions, thoughts?
Yeah, feel free while you have me. Feel free. Don't be
Yeah.
shy.
Yes. And I will put this plug in for Tyrone. If you, he is a speaker and he loves to speak with youth. So if you are interested in him doing something for your youth, Tyrone, why don't you put your
Yeah,
contact information in the chat?
let me do that now.
Because he does love to give back to the youth. And I think representation matters. And so for youth to see someone who looks like them, who has a similar background as them, is really good for them to think, oh, wow, maybe I can do this too.
Right. Yeah, so I just dropped my website in the chat and I dropped my social media. So as long as you see a Black man with locks, it's me. So
Okay.
yeah,
Another question. Did you participate in any after school experiences that assisted on your journey?
Yeah, you know what? To be honest, no, but I will say this. I will say this. So early on, I'm coming from a poverty, extremely low income environment. So I had to make do with what I had. And at the time, we didn't have a computer like in the house. So what did I do? I went to the library. So I'm a huge proponent of the library and librarians and students and kids still going to the library, checking out books. I'm still like, I'm so strong on that because I know how integral that was for me and my success today. And without it, I wouldn't even be here today. So I would go to the library, read books, go to the computer and library card, swipe it. I still do it now. I still go to the library now, even today, and check out things and speak to people. So I am a huge proponent for the library. Librarians, you guys are amazing. Educators are amazing.
And there's a librarian who is here who said, as a librarian, I thank you for that support. And libraries play a big part in the after school world. Libraries, because not a lot of youth can get to an after school program, but they can walk into that library. And I know in Columbus, it was nothing to go into a library and see, 20, 30 kids in the library after school who would be there until their parents got off work and picked them up when the library closed. So
that's what I did. I mean, literally, I would go and my mom she would start to get upset. She's like, you're always on that computer. You're always going to the library. But I grew up in an environment filled with gang violence and crime and drugs. So what do you want me to do? I mean, I'm going somewhere that has a safe environment. It's my sense of solace and solitude. And it's a way for me to learn and grow. And again, I mean, I give all homage and praise to the library because without it, I wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? I see Heather up at the top. Heather, did you have a question or you're at the top of my screen. So I don't, it's like, okay, Heather's there. Any other questions?
And by the way, this is not the only time you guys can talk to me or ask me things. I mean, my website's there, my social media is there. So please, if you think of something after this, or if you want to talk to me personally or, learn more, reach out to me, social media, my website, and yeah, we'll definitely talk and get something going.
Thank you. Thank you. A lot of thank yous.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Well,
Yeah.
oh, no, there's another one. What advice would you give to youth that think after school is nerdy? And someone wants to know, and I don't think you said this. So we got three things. What advice would you give to youth who think after school is nerdy?
Yeah.
What do you do now?
Yeah.
And what's next on your journey?
Sure. Okay, so number one, I would say nerds are cool. Nerds are the coolest. And so we change the world and we change society. So, I know how kids are. I know how they think nowadays. They think the stuff that's cool is actually lame. The stuff that's actually harmful is cool. I get how it works psychology, like, psychological wise, but I would just tell them like, hey, you should actually look into being a nerd or really being proud of that.
Right.
We change the world. We change society and the world. So nothing wrong with that. Number two was what?
What are you doing now?
Yeah, what am I doing now? So yeah, presently I work on space and satellite hardware that I have to help basically test, manufacture, or test and qualify and make sure that they're manufactured to various military, government, and NASA standards. So the hardware can survive an environment in space because the hardware that we work on, we use it to build the bigger rocket ships, the bigger space vehicles, the bigger machines that go into space. And so we have to make sure that the hardware can survive a life cycle in space. And so we try to simulate the space environment or the space orbit here, at the job to make sure that they can survive. And we send the parts through various mechanical, electrical, and environmental testing to simulate that environment.
And
Not
you
material, yeah, it's
and
not material,
your
but yeah.
so and your official, you're aeronautical engine, aeronautical engineer, electrical engineer.
Yeah, I got you. So my there's a lot of disciplines, but
Sorry.
my background is in electrical engineering. The industry that I work in is aerospace and aviation. My title is Triple E Components Engineer, and that stands for electrical, electronic, and electromechanical components, so hardware, parts engineer. Does
And
that
you
make
are at NASA in, I forget which NASA, that NASA in Texas.
Yeah, it's the NASA Johnson Space Center in Texas.
Yes.
Yeah, Houston, Texas.
Right.
Yeah.
And so another,
What's next for
what's
me?
next? What's next on your journey?
Yeah.
Share your LinkedIn contact.
Okay.
And I'm sorry, I'm just throwing them out at you.
No, that's okay. Yeah, my LinkedIn is if you just search Tyrone Jacobs Jr., you'll find me. I'm in like a maroon burgundy suit. You'll find
Burgundy
me.
suit. Yep.
You won't miss me. And I'll
Yep.
also I'll share it to everybody via email as well. What's next? Well, my birthday is in 12 days. I'll be turning 30, and I'm going to release my first book. And
Yay.
the book is called From Dreams to the Galaxy, A Journey of Resilience and Success. Thank you, thank you. I will get you the pre-order link, but I have a link on Amazon right now where people can pre-order a copy of it. But yeah, I'm really shooting extremely hard right now to get it out on my birthday. So it's basically a story about my journey, my story, real life moments, real life illustrations. And it's for ages 5 to 12. But really, I mean, anybody can pull from it. It's not just for ages 5 to 12. I mean, even if you're an adult, you can pull something from it. So it's really a story covering my journey in my life, my journey into STEM, engineering, aerospace. How did I do it? What are some of the challenges I kind of went through and where am I today? So I'm really, really, really excited about it. I have never written a book before in my life. And this is my first one. So I'm excited to see what happens.
All right. Thank you. And you got some happy birthdays. There are cakes
Thank
flowing
you.
in the chat.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. Any other questions? And they say congrats on the book too.
Thank
So
you.
thank you all so much. And thank you, Tyrone, for giving us an upbeat hope about resilience and perseverance. to share with our youth.
Mhm.
We need it because, you know, when you first started talking, I said, how many youth do we have in our spaces who are feeling the same way?
Mhm. And they don't
So
feel like they have a voice to even voice it. So
right,
yeah,
right.
right.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, everyone. That is this it, Heather? Kim? Is this it? Is this it? Yay.
This is it. What a great ending. Thank you, Tyrone, so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
somebody said get down. Thank you so much. Very inspirational.
yeah. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh, somebody else wants to know, who is the publisher of your book?
So it'll be on Amazon, but I'm working through that detail right now. So when it releases, everybody will find out all the details that they want when it
Okay,
comes.
okay. And Mary says ability to take risks, perseverance, collaboration. Yes, all of those. So thank you. Thank you so much. Tyrone has put his information in the chat if you want to follow up with him. You can find him on LinkedIn. I follow him on LinkedIn, so I'm always looking at what's going on. And I told Tyrone, I didn't know if he knew this. He was trending on X yesterday. There was a big thing on Black at NASA. And there were a lot of African-American NASA young people who were trending,
Yeah,
which was really cool to see.
yeah.
Someone says, are you planning to lead some conferences?
Wow,
Diana says that.
yeah, that would be big. That's definitely one of my goals. With what I do in my business. Yeah, I would love to lead my own conference or lead my own STEM conference or professional development conference, something like that. Yeah, that's definitely in my mind. So yeah, hopefully one day I just have to keep my head down and keep working.
Yes, yes. And like I said, I think our youth need to see you and hear your story.
For sure.
Because everything you said, I know the youth can resonate with that.
And that's the
Um,
biggest point is I am them. Like it's not a thing of
right,
like separation or if I see them, they can't touch me or feel me. Like I was you. So,
right,
you know, yeah.
right, right. So thank you, everybody. We have put one last feedback survey in the chat. Please fill this out. So as we are planning for year 3, we know what works, what didn't work, and what you, our participants, would like to see more of or less of in some cases. So please fill out the survey, and we thank you all for being here. As a reminder, this event was put on by Ohio, Vermont, North Dakota, Montana, Nebraska, and Illinois. And so there's one of us for each of those states, and you can reach out to one or all of us if you have any questions or follow up. If you want to hear more from speakers and you missed their contact information, please just reach out to us and let us know. The videos will be available, and I'm going to say 2 weeks. It might be sooner, but I'm just going to say 2 weeks. You can also find us in the exhibit hall because we do have a virtual exhibit hall, so you can go there and find us there. We'll make sure you get Tyrone's information and the information for all of our speakers, and you will also have access to videos and resources that we have shared these past 2 days. So thank you. I don't know if any of my wonderful teammates from across the country want to say anything as we wrap up.
Sheila has done a fantastic job. So thank you all for joining. It was great.
Thank you. Thank you. We have enjoyed, I think this is one of the favorite things we do for work. It is, yes. Yes, it is.
And it's fun to work with all of you.
Yes, 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 yes. To bring people together from 6 different states and to just have everybody work so well together and pull off a big event like this is priceless. So, and more thank you, Tyrone's in the chat box. So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you. Much love.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Bye.